For us to wait before we see David Haye in action for the first time, defending his WBA World Heavyweight title. But we don't have to wait too long to see the man right now, because he's just about to give a press conference in Manchester. Well, he'll be telling us all about his next opponent.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the Radisson Edwardian here in Manchester, just a stone's throw away from the excellent and always atmospheric MEN Arena, the scene for the spring return of our new world heavyweight king, and the first time in 10 years that the heavyweight championship will be fought here in Britain. It was an icy cool, classy and intelligent tactical display from our former world cruiserweight champion to topple the biggest world heavyweight ruler of all time, the 7-foot, 23-stone Russian giant, Nikolai Valuev. It was a masterful strategical plan cooked up by David and his longtime friend, trainer and manager, Adam Booth. Especially important, with David giving away so much height and 7 stone in weight out in Germany, where, of course, it's notoriously tough to claim a decision. 2010's a vital year for our first world heavyweight champion since Lennox Lewis. And with the charisma, charm and excitement that David brings, it's easy to see why and how he could become one of our most famous sporting celebrities. His November triumph gave our sport a huge shot in the arm, but David knows the old saying, it's harder to keep a title than to win one in the first place. And his first defence is a hard, tough mandatory against the vastly experienced and knowledgeable Latin American John Ruiz. The former 2-time world champion who's won 44 fights. He's beaten the likes of Hasim Rahman, Andrew Galotta and the great Evander Holyfield, and Ruiz is desperate to regain his crown. The quiet man's currently training hard out in Las Vegas for this crucial world WBA title fight on Easter weekend, Saturday, April the 3rd, here in Manchester. And it's a special event that we're bringing to you live and exclusively on Sky Box Office. Without further ado, let me introduce the table. Adam Booth to my left, of course, the new world heavyweight champion David Haye, and on the far side, Chris Meyer, the CEO of Sowland Events, who work in conjunction with Haymaker. And Chris, maybe start off with a few words from you. Thank you.
Well, look, when we signed this for the Valuev fight, with Adam negotiating on the other end, was very, very short, but intensive. I think 3 days or what it was. Then it got really off. It was a pleasure to deal with. Of course, David was in the background, telling or advising Adam on certain items, but it was a terrific job that we did at that time, short period of time, and well, we thought we got the trump in our hand with Valuev defending, and we did a bit of a miscalculation, but actually now with David, we now work together on the next couple of fights. We're actually totally delighted. He was brilliant in the ring, a very clever man, and afterwards, I wasn't allowed to speak to him beforehand, Adam forbid. Afterwards, he really turned out to be a true gentleman and very one of a kind. And we're delighted to be here and to be involved with David and with Adam in this fight here. First time for him as a world champion and heavyweights in England. So we're delighted and very happy to be here.
Thank you, Chris. Adam Booth, trainer and manager.
The story against Valuev was an obvious one. It was David against Goliath, and I think the physical attributes pretty much depicted what the fight was going to be. John Ruiz has been at world level for a long, long time, and he is the master at making talented fighters look less than ordinary. He's done it throughout his career. There's nothing that Ruiz does that you can say stands out, except for the fact that he's able to take away the majority of his opponent's assets. David and I both know that this fight with Ruiz is a massive banana skin in David's plans of becoming a long-term heavyweight champion and unifying the titles. So looking beyond John Ruiz would be probably the biggest mistake that we could ever make, and we're certainly not going to do that. We know what Ruiz brings, we know what he's about, we know how good he is at making great fighters look ordinary, and David's determined and hell-bent to prevent him, or to prevent Ruiz from affecting his performance. So really it's over to David.